As most of you know, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've been one for almost 30 years. That's all I do. I don't sue people for money, and I don't draft or review contracts. And I certainly don't do divorce cases. So how the hell did I end up in this one? Well, let me tell you how. I got a call from a divorce attorney asking for my help. Her client was sentenced to jail by a family court judge in a divorce case. And so this attorney wanted me to appeal that decision. Jail time in a divorce case? That's pretty crazy. But what happened next shocked me even more. If you like this type of content, please like, share, and comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Welcome back to the G-Spot, where we talk about true crime, actual criminal cases from my own case files. My name is Dmitry Gurovich, and I've been a criminal defense lawyer for almost 30 years. These are my stories, so sit back, relax, and welcome to my world. Picture this. A young couple is getting divorced. He's about 27, she's 26. They've been married for a year and a half, and they have a kid. She's asking for spousal support and child support because, according to her, she makes no money. She's got nothing in the bank. She's got no income coming in. Zero. She's alleging that her husband is working for his dad's company and makes a ton of money. Now, his position is that that's not true. He makes pennies. He's on a salary, lives in a small apartment, drives a small beat-up company car. And so they go to court. She presents this to the court, to the judge, and she makes the allegation that her ex-husband is lying and that he makes all this crazy amount of money. But she cannot substantiate her statements. She has no proof. These are only allegations. Judge looks at both of them and he says, look, I believe the petitioner, the wife. I don't believe you, the husband. Since this is your dad's company, he can give you a lot more money than you say he gives you. And so I order you not just to pay spousal support and child support to her, but to also pay her attorney fees. Now, up to that point, she ran up, or I should say her attorney ran up, attorney fees in the amount of $30,000. $30,000. This kid makes nowhere near that. He can't afford it at all. The judge does not care. He says, you have to pay her. You have to pay her attorney fees and spousal support and child support. That's the order. A few weeks go by. His attorney, the one that called me into the case, takes the wife's deposition. And in that deposition, she asks the wife questions as to certain bank accounts, assets, etc. And during the depo, the wife cracks. She confesses that she actually has assets, that she has money. She has an inheritance from her dad coming in, that she has money overseas, in overseas accounts. Can you imagine? That she works, and not just for one company, but for two. She pulls in two salaries. She did not disclose any of that to the judge. Zero. She lied to the court in the original hearing. She lied that she was out of work. She lied that she had no assets. She lied about everything, including her husband making a ton of money. After the deposition, this attorney, the husband's attorney, files a motion with the court telling the judge that the original order has to be vacated because it's based on fraudulent information. Whether we agree with the judge or not, whether we think he should have believed her or should not have believed her, it doesn't matter, because She misrepresented to the court her assets, her income, everything. And you know what the judge says? He says, my order stands. I don't care. Now this part blew me away. I can't imagine anything like this happening in criminal court. I've never seen that before. But this is family, this is divorce court, and I guess things are different here. I don't know. So why is this important? Well, let me tell you. You see, the wife's attorney filed for contempt of court because the husband didn't pay his $30,000 in attorney fees. Now, what does that mean? What is contempt of court? Whenever a court or judge issues an order for somebody, for a party to do something, and that party does not comply with that order, that party can be held in contempt of court, meaning in violation of the court's order. There are certain penalties that can be attached to that. And so in this case, the wife's attorney filed for contempt. Now, during this contempt hearing, something interesting happened. Now, first of all, the case was switched to a different judge, not the original judge, and the husband's attorney obtained even more evidence of the wife's perjury or lies. The husband's attorney addresses the court. If she testified, referring to the wife, that she had one bank account when she had four, if she testified that she had no crypto accounts, but she had five, if she testified that she did not receive any money from her father's estate, when she in fact got over $60,000, that's fraud. If she testified that she was not working at all, and yet she was holding down two jobs, that's fraud. She went on to state, I'm actually going to impeach her contempt and show that she lied in the original hearing, which would have made a different result in the orders. You need to sit down for this one, because this was the court's reply. The court said, you may proceed, but just note, we are not going to relitigate the fee order. Are you kidding me? You gotta be kidding me. Listen, the court was just presented with evidence that the wife lied in the original hearing to the original judge, telling him she was out of work, telling him that she has no money coming in, she has no bank accounts, she doesn't work, blah, 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 right? This new judge was presented with this evidence in the contempt hearing. And this new judge said, you may argue, you may proceed, you may tell me all this, but I don't care because I'm not going to reopen the other hearing. I'm not going to relitigate the original order. How does that work? How does that work? If that original order is based on fraudulent information, if that original order is based on lies, how do you just run with it? Does that make any sense? Is that justice? What the hell is this judge doing? So this new judge found the husband in contempt of court. Okay? Now, just like in criminal cases where there are two issues to be decided, is the person guilty or not? Number one. And if they are guilty, then there's sentencing. How do we punish this person, right? How do we sentence? Same thing in contempt proceedings. Is the person in contempt of court? And if he is, then we move on to sentencing to see how to punish this individual. And so it was here. The husband was found in contempt of court and a sentencing date was set. That's when the divorce attorney, the husband's divorce attorney, called me. She explained everything to me, showed me the transcripts. I honestly, as I was reading it, I could not believe what I was seeing. I mean, this is bizarre. It honestly does not happen in criminal court. I've never seen it before. When you present a judge with credible evidence that his or her original order was based on fraud, on lies, that order is going to be reopened. That proceeding is going to get reopened. And new evidence is going to be considered. This cannot stand. The divorce attorney and the client asked me to come to the sentencing. And at that sentencing, I addressed this new judge. And I said, my understanding, Your Honor, is that the judgment of the court, the decision of the court, is based on testimony that was later proven to be perjury, to be fraud. So the idea is we want to make sure that justice is done in this court. If this court's decision is based on fraudulent information, perjured testimony, then we're after procedure over substance. I would ask the court to allow us to file a writ, and I'll explain what that is. Unless, Your Honor, would like to revisit this issue, and this is the court's response. I am not going to revisit the issue. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but this is absolutely ridiculous. It is highly improper for the court to do this. So I sat down and I put a writ together. Now, what is a writ? In this situation, it's called a writ of mandate. And we are asking the Court of Appeals to review the lower court's decision and instruct the lower court to reopen the original proceedings and consider this new evidence of fraud. Because again, the original order of attorney fees, $30,000, and spousal support and child support, all that order is based on fraud on the court. So I put together this writ, and it was very well written, if I may say so myself. And we filed it with the Court of Appeals. And guess what happened? It was denied. The Court of Appeals summarily denied the petition. Now why? And what does that mean? The court does not have to read the writ. They can just deny it simply because they don't like the issue that is brought up in the writ. Simply because they're too busy with other cases. And so it was here. They did not even read my brief. And I spent a lot of time writing it. A lot. It was a good brief, honestly. So the client is panicking. He is looking at a lot of jail time for not being able to pay his ex-wife's attorney $30,000. So what do? How do we get out of this situation? Well, there may be a possibility, an appeal to the Supreme Court of California. Same thing applies. The Supreme Court does not have to consider or even read our brief. If the Supreme Court is busy with other cases or does not wish to address the issues contained in our brief, it can be summarily denied without even reading it, without reading the merits of the argument. And so we decide to file the Supreme Court brief. Chances are not great at all. Most of them get denied, just like with the Court of Appeals, but the client wants to do it. So I sit down and I draft this new brief. I include all the arguments that we made to the Court of Appeals, and I add the judge's response to my argument that she will not reopen this. She does not want to consider any evidence coming in. She just wants the client, the husband, to pay his ex-wife's attorney fees. That's it. After spending a bunch of sleepless nights working on the brief, I get it filed. Several days go by and we get a response from the Supreme Court of California. Your writ is summarily denied. Denied. I was honestly blown away. This is absolute injustice. I've never seen this before in almost 30 years of practicing law. Certainly haven't seen it in criminal courts. A court issues an order based on fraudulent information. The court is notified that the information that the court based its ruling on is fraudulent, and the court doesn't want to do anything about it. This completely blew me away. I've never seen that before. I mean, maybe that's the way family law functions, but it certainly should not. This is a travesty. This is an injustice. And I feel really, really bad for this kid. This reminds me of debtor's prison that they had in medieval England, where if you owed somebody money and you couldn't repay, they put you in prison. I mean, this honestly was the same thing. Pay money that you don't have or go to jail. So did the kid end up going to jail? No. He managed to take out a loan and pay this attorney his fees. A loan that he is paying off with his less dollar, literally. Why hasn't his dad helped him, you ask? Well, just because he works for his dad's company doesn't mean that he and his dad are best of buddies, that they have the best relationship. His dad told him, you got your ass into this relationship, you get your ass out. This was on you. I'm not helping you. You work for my company, you receive a salary because you do work, and that's it. I'm not giving you any more money. So this kid had no choice. He took out a loan. That's all he could do. Going to jail was not an option for him. If this story made you a bit angry, or if you've been through something similar, please drop a comment. I'd like to hear from you. And if you like this type of content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, of course. Thank you for watching. Tune in for more interesting stories. My name is Dmitry Gurovich, Mr. G, if you will. This is my spot, and these are my stories.